This is Kerrigan & Company.
Prize-winning fun. The Topsfield Fair is back, October 3rd to the 13th. From heart-racing thrills and exciting live entertainment to award-winning food, giant pumpkins, and everything in between. There's something for everyone at the Topsfield Fair, America's oldest country fair. The Topsfield Fair, October 3rd through the 13th. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit topsfieldfair.org.
Hi, everyone. This is Kim. If you like movies, this is the episode for you. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Kerrigan & Company. So good to have you with us for this edition. Listen, we're talking all film today, and I'm very excited about it. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Boston has one of the most unique and one of the best renowned film festivals. And a lot of people may not know that, but the Boston Film Festival, it's just around the corner, and we're going to talk about it. And joining me today is the executive director of that festival. This is Robin Dawson, and it's good to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you, Kim.
So I say that a lot of people may not know about it. I think a lot of people have heard of the Boston Film Festival. I just don't know if they recognize how important it is in the world of film.
It really is, and I think people don't realize that you get that first-hand experience with the filmmakers. We guarantee that an actor and a director are going to be there for the Q&A, so that it really brings that to the audience, that opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's the first time you get to see a lot of films, award-winning films. We had Green Book here and others, as well as documentaries, which are informative, enlightening, moving. And then we have a shorts program, and we also are this year adding a live animation program.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, we're quite excited about that. We're bringing in WB, Warner Brothers, Eric Bowser, who's a voice actor and the new voice actor of Bugs Bunny.
How fun.
Yeah.
That is a really cool thing. This is the 41st festival.
Yes.
Wow. So it's been around for a while, that's for certain. I'm really interested to know how you guys go about choosing or inviting the films and the directors and the actors who come.
Well, it's a process that involves a couple of different areas. One, they submit their film for consideration. So they're looking and researching film festivals around the world and deciding which ones are, I guess, appropriate for their films, where they have the best chance. And then we also we target certain films. We talk to studios, production companies, and we take films from Tribeca, which is before us, may have debuted there, or Telluride or some of the bigger festivals, just not in the New England area.
What does it mean to these filmmakers to be in a festival and then to maybe ultimately place or, to walk away with something?
Well, it's interesting because a few years ago we had the, fortune of having George Clooney come in and do an award for a great producer named Jerry Weintraub. And at that time, as we saw the film festival market growing, we decided, what can we do for filmmakers? What makes this unique? What can they come away with?
Right.
And what we decided was press and PR, because they need to get distribution.
Right.
And when you look at these films, and of course you fall in love with a lot of them, you really become passionate about helping them. They've invested a lot of money on the independent film front, and so you want them to get the word out. And of course, social media is a big part of that.
Sure.
So it's an interesting world. It's grown, and that's what we focus on. We try and get that visibility out for the filmmakers. So for them to come away with a great experience, they love seeing the full theater, of course, and maybe they come away with an award. It's great for them.
Absolutely. So talk to those out there who are listening who don't know about the film festival. How does it all work?
Well, it takes place over 4 days, and then we have a virtual program that now, since COVID, that continues after the fact. So some people who are still not comfortable going to a theater have the opportunity to watch some films from home. People will buy tickets. They'll come. We have a red carpet each day, which is a fun experience. And then we do the film premiere, and we have several world premieres this year, which is significant.
Yeah.
And we have the Q&A following, and then a reception to celebrate the day's films that have premiered at the film festival. So this takes place through the weekend. We also do some special programs. We work with Warner Brothers to do a college day, which takes place the day before we officially open with our feature. And this year it's going to be at Emerson College, and they're doing a show called It, which is based on Stephen King's novel,
Right,
and there's a lot of
right.
excitement about that.
Absolutely. You guys celebrated, obviously, 40 years last year, and that was sort of a special celebration, right?
It was a special celebration. And, you know, it's funny, Kim, because each year I think, I'm so in love with the program that we have. Can that ever be topped? And it is every year.
Yeah.
And 40 was a big year, and we had some great films, but the 41st is equally as great.
Yeah, which is that's terrific.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about Boston that makes this so successful? Because, you know, again, I'm sure that there are a lot of film festivals all across the country. You just named a few, you know, but maybe they don't draw or they don't do as well. Why do we do well here?
Well, I think a couple of things play into that. One is Boston is a great city. If you look at the example of Sundance, the reason that did so well, beyond having the support of Robert Redford, is that it was a destination film festival.
Right.
Boston's a great city.
Yeah.
You know, it's a walkable city. And I love New York, but I love Boston more because it offers a little unique aspect of being able to walk and our sports. And we have a great cultural community, great restaurants.
Right.
So I think that's an appeal, and that's part of a film festival. Hopefully, it's the selection of films as well.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other film festivals, and everybody has a niche, I think, in the market here. And so we have the Jewish Film Festival coming up. They do a great job. Roxbury just played. And Nantucket's another wonderful film festival.
Right.
So we have a lot to offer as a state. And I think that Boston, being the city that it is, plays into why people would want to come or bring their films.
Sure, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. That would seem absolutely correct. This year's festival, let's talk about some of the highlights that you see coming.
Yes, well, we're opening with a film that I'm really excited about, and you're about to talk to the filmmakers and lead actor on this. It's an extraordinary story, one that I never knew, takes place during World War II. That's The Fallow Few. It's an international premiere. On the weekend, we have a couple more films that are world premiere status. The Caddy Preston story, which is called Hidden, is about a Holocaust survivor who still is alive, and she's going to be there for the Q&A. And she was hidden as a young child.
Right.
That's at the Boston Public Library. We have Blue Zeus, one of my favorite documentaries. Actually, people who are in that horse, equestrian world know of Claire Staples, who founded Skydog Sanctuary. Ariel Kebbel, who is an actress, is actually coming in. She's in the film, but it talks about the preservation of wild Mustangs in our country, and there's a whole backstory on that. And the work she's done is remarkable, and we're presenting her with a humanitarian award.
That's great.
So that's of note. And then Heart of a Lion. We have two kind of back-to-back. That's from actually a local filmmaker, originally native to Massachusetts, Jeff Hogan, but based on Mark Elbrock's book about cougars. And little-known facts along the way of how they interact with other cougars and their young, and they track them and follow them. Beautiful cinematography.
I bet.
And fascinating story, and you learn a lot.
Sure.
So that's a world premiere. And then, of course, we have Closing Night is another world premiere, and that's Ambleside. And I love this film. It really is going to be an epic. Wow. It stars Ellie Bamber and Mehdi Abdi, who will be coming in, and also J.J. Field and Rupert Jones. And it is based on a true story, and the people who experience this in their life are producers, and they will be there along with the director and actors, and it'll be at the Shaylin Liu in Rockport. It's set in 1925 and has a little something for everybody. It has romance, it has action, it's intriguing. You'll be captivated throughout it, but it's spectacular.
Wow.
Really, really beautiful film.
What I love, too, is that it's a nice mix. I realize there's other things along the way, but you've got these wonderful documentaries and then these great, adaptations from books and so on and so forth, which is really great. Since COVID, how is the movie world? And I'm going to ask you this twofold. First, since COVID, how do you feel, the industry has recuperated?
It's been a slow recovery.
Yeah.
I feel like last year we saw much better attendance, almost full on our screenings, but we work towards it. We have to do a lot of outreach and marketing and social media to get that audience in. People are still uncomfortable. COVID is still present out there. We try to take precautions so that people are safe in our theaters, but it is a slow recovery, and you see it in the industry as well. It's hurt our economy, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually chatting with friends this past weekend trying to remember the last time I'd been in a theater, which draws me to my next question, and that's the impact of streaming on this industry. I can't determine if it's a good thing or a bad thing, so I'd like to hear from you. Is streaming a good thing or a bad thing for the movie industry?
Depending upon the perspective that you're coming from.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing because it allows filmmakers to get their stories out. Before streaming, you were very limited, and it was hard to get a theatrical release.
Right.
So from our perspective, we see more filmmakers getting their stories out. But it definitely has changed the game. And it will continue to evolve as we move forward. And, it'll be interesting to see how this transpires, because people's budgets are getting a little tighter recently, and they're dropping some of their subscriptions. So it will evolve again, but I believe it always bounce back.
Yeah. I just think it's so interesting, as I'm sitting back maybe watching award shows, and we're comparing movies that have been in big houses to movies that have been on my small screen. And as much as I love movies easily accessible in my house, it never feels like that's the same as those epic movies that I saw on a big screen somewhere. It just doesn't feel like they should be even judged the same way. And I realize that's not fair, but,
But
you can understand what I'm saying, right? I come from an old school, right? We went to the theater.
And an excellent point, Kim, because when you're in a theater, and I think of when I saw, some epic films with audiences, the experience of sharing it in a theater with other people, the reaction, the focus on the screen, it's really unique and it's special. So I hope it stays around for a long time.
Yeah, I do too, because I just think it's a really special experience to go to a theater. And there are some movies that are just made for a big screen. I mean, I think about them, and I think if I would have seen that first on my TV at home, that would not have had the same impact,
Right.
Music that comes out of, who knows where, or whatever the case may be, so.
Yes.
Yeah, really interesting. We do this thing here, it's called the Fast Five.
Yes. Oh, boy.
Robin, you knew it was coming, didn't you? It's the Topsfield Fair Fast Five right now, the Topsfield Fair. It is back. It's October the 3rd through the 13th. Get your discounted tickets. Right now, all you have to do is go to topsfieldfair.org. Are you ready, my friend?
I hope so.
All right. What's your favorite movie of all time? That's such a hard question to ask, isn't it? I think.
Somebody from the film industry of all time, I would say Gone with the Wind.
Very good. What is your favorite thing to snack on while you're watching Gone with the Wind?
Popcorn.
Who's your favorite actress?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. There's so many great actresses out there, but, Meryl Streep comes to mind.
She is one of the greats. There's no two ways about it. What book do you think was turned into a great movie?
Ooh. A great book that turned into a great movie. Perfect Storm.
You're so right. And would you watch a scary movie in a graveyard by yourself?
No.
Me either. Do you have a genre that you prefer?
Okay, I'll admit it. I'm a romance drama girl, though I do love suspense.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
And I don't go to scary movies. I don't like that. I feel like there's too much in my regular life that's scary. Have you been in traffic lately? That's scary enough for me. We want to let everybody know that our friends at the Topsfield Fair want to make sure that you get a chance to come out. And so we're giving away a 4-pack, a family 4-pack. What you need to do is go to Kerrigan & Company Instagram and answer this question. What is your favorite activity at the Topsfield Fair? Be sure you enter by 5 o'clock on September the 19th, and we will let the lucky winner know through our Instagram, and of course we'll let you know personally. So again, what is your favorite activity at this Topsfield Fair? Be sure you enter by 5 o'clock on September the 19th. I'm very excited about this. You guys at the Boston Film Festival have been kind enough to hook us up with the director as well as one of the actors, really the star,
yes,
of a premiere movie that's going to be seen here in Boston, and we're going to chat with both of them when we come back. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Prize-winning fun. The Topsfield Fair is back, October 3rd to the 13th. From heart-racing thrills and exciting live entertainment to award-winning food, giant pumpkins, and everything in between. There's something for everyone at the Topsfield Fair, America's oldest country fair. The Topsfield Fair, October 3rd through the 13th. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit topsfieldfair.org.
Experience the groundbreaking masterpiece today. An electrifying all-new production of Rent is on stage at North Shore Music Theater from September 16th through September 28th. Get tickets at nsmt.org.
This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan & Company. It is so good to have Robin Dawson here. She is, of course, from the Boston Film Festival, which is coming up, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned the exact times, but it's coming up the 19th through the 22nd of September.
Yes.
And if people want to get information, because I know after they see our next two guests and they've heard you talking, they're going to want it to know, where would you go to get more info about it?
BostonFilmFestival.org.
I love it. BostonFilmFestival.org. So don't forget that, dear friends out there. I am so excited because there's a big international premiere on the very first night of the film festival, right? So on the 19th. And that is our next guest. It's his movie. This is Josh Rapaport. He is the director of the movie, The Fallow Few. And it's great to see you, Josh. Thanks so much for being a part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You said you're in New York, but you're a local guy.
Yes. Yeah, I grew up in Boston. I grew up for the first 13 years of my life in Concord, Massachusetts, and then Newton, and then lived in Boston in my late teens and through some of my 20s, and have very fond memories of Boston. Go Sox, go Pats. Love it all. Yeah.
We love a guy who knows our sports teams, too. He loves them, and that's the way it has to be. So, Josh, did you go to college here? Did you go to film school here? Tell me a little bit about how you got there.
USC Film School out in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience. A lot of the folks that I actually made this movie with, I met at film school. Because I think that's one of the best things about film school, but also some great film festivals is you're able to create a network of folks that you first and foremost like being around, and then secondary is we make good movies together.
That's so terrific, and we understand that it's Fallow Few that you're.
Yes.
This is your big debut, correct?
Yes, yeah. So this is the first feature film that I've directed, and I was very lucky to get to work with a fantastic studio out in the UK that does a lot of movies, and then called Orwo Studios, and then also my cinematographer he and I have known each other for quite a long time, so we've developed a really good shorthand, and he's done a lot of movies himself as well, and that's generally with a first-time director. You see they lean a fair bit and are very tight with their cinematographer, who's a veteran, generally. So that was fantastic. Yeah.
Josh, can you tell the audience a little bit about how you came upon the story, why you decided to do this particular film. It wasn't an easy film to do, particularly earlier in your career, the way you shot it. It's very dramatic. It's an incredible story. And I think it would be nice to share a little bit of that history with the audience.
Absolutely, yeah. So I don't know if the log line has been shared with the audience, but the quick elevator pitch is it's 1916, the Western Front, and it's about a British prison guard whose job is guarding deserters the night before they're killed for execution. And this is about the night that he becomes friends with one of them and tries to save his life before 7 a.m. before his new friend is killed. So there were aspects of it that I connected very deeply with, but a fair bit of the research had to go into understanding the Western Front fairly, and understanding World War I. I'm not going to say I'm a historian of World War I, because I got to meet some historians through this process who really know their stuff. But when it came to the deserters, I really was on top of understanding a lot of what went on. As far as where the idea came from, I initially wanted to write something about the Christmas truce, which was, if you don't know about it, it was when the British and the Germans and the French the first Christmas out there, they all got out of their trenches and they played football, soccer together, and they kind of enjoyed a little respite against their commanding officer's orders. And I thought, we live in a really divided time. I'd love to write something about people putting their differences aside and coming together, but it was coming out a little too hallmarky for World War I. It was coming out a little too feel good, right? Because World War I was not feel good. Right. So then I started going, all right, well, maybe what could have motivated these guys to come out of their trenches? Maybe maybe one of their friends got executed for desertion, and that kind of got them to, and then you get a little more of that conflict between them and their superiors or something like that. And then once I started reading about the deserters, I went, wow, this is so engaging, so interesting. I connect with this so much. And I think that, and then I was just off to the races, and I just started just devouring information. And then there was a Putkowski book and a Sykes, two historians / journalists, and there were some passages in there that I went, wow, this is really interesting, and that got me going.
And Josh, this is based on a true story.
Yeah, it's based on the trial of Edwin Diet and whether he's. Yeah, it's based on the trial of Edwin Diet. Yeah, who's a sub-lieutenant. Yeah.
So, Josh, walk me through what the experience is like on the first day on the set.
Yeah.
And you are running this show. Now, you've been, I'm sure, prior to that, on many a movie set. But now here you are. This is your baby. What's going through your mind?
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing is you want to make sure your actors are comfortable. Your number one job, the only part of a film set that the director is, you have department heads for every part of the movie other than the actors, right? So you have people that you can work with directly, but your number one concern is making sure the actors feel good, and you want to set a really good, strong, positive tone, because the first day on set really dictates how a lot of people are going to feel going into the rest of it. And you don't have a lot of time. These movies, they last a long time. You're not there making them for a long time,
right?
So it's you're thinking about that. And then for us, a lot of our first, just for scheduling purposes, we shot at Jane Austen's old summer house for our exteriors. And so you're thinking a lot about, we got to get everything we got to get. So there's not a lot of time to feel stressed or overwhelmed, because that's just gonna kind of get in the way. But from the studio's perspective, our second day of shooting, there was really a lot going on, and once we got all that, I could see they got really comfortable and with this first time director. Yeah. So yeah, no, it was a great time.
All I would be able to think is, have we gotten enough? Have we gotten enough? Have we gotten enough? You know? We are going to be lucky enough to have Bradley James on in a couple of minutes. Talk to us about directing him.
Oh, he was fantastic. I mean, so with a lot of these, you know, you think, so a lot of folks, they go and they think of a picture like this and they go, wow, these guys must have had as much time as you have on a play, on a theatrical production to prepare. It's not really like that with a film, right? So Bradley had, you know, he had about 80 pages of material that he had to get under his belt and really have locked down. And he did it in about 10 days, 2 weeks from when we started working with him to when he got in there. And then he was so gracious, because with a picture like this, the guy that's number one on the call sheet is really important as far as how he sets the tone for the rest of the actors too, because generally the guy that's number one or the actor that's number one on the call sheet, you know, they're a lot of the other actors are looking up to them in some way. And so Bradley was a great role model for all of our other actors too. And he you know, he was wonderful to work with. Yeah. And we've become good friends through the process, which is great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Casting him was such a critical decision. And, you know, you can, as you know, Josh, have a great script, but getting the actors who can put that on screen, he did an extraordinary job. So congratulations on casting him.
Yeah.
Thank you. I agree. Well, I knew when we first met, so initially it was supposed to be, you know, oh, all right, Bradley's going back to, because I was in Los Angeles at the time, and we got a call from his agent, and she said, so he wants to meet, he's leaving tomorrow, so just go and meet with him for, you know, half an hour or whatever. And we ended up talking for about 4 hours or 4.5 hours when we first met, and I had my storyboards and his, you know, I had a pretty clear idea of everything, and he took some pressure off me because I thought that I was going to have to go in and really sell him on doing the movie. But right at the outset, when I first spoke to him on the phone before we even met, he said, you know, it's been a long time. I'm not going to do his accent. He said it's been a long time since I've read a script where I just went, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that's super.
That was really nice, and so that started us off on a great foot, and he was a wonderful collaborator, and I hope we get to make some more great stuff together. It was great working with him.
So the movie is, I know it's been seen already, but you know, you're going to be here in Boston on the 19th. Talk about how important it is to you to be at this film festival and this being a featured film here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting to come back to the city where I grew up, where I fell in love with movies, where I first made my first short films and little home movies and things like that, is a dream. You know, it's a real dream to get to do it. And if this were the last, well, I'm not going to say that, but if this is a very significant thing to me, you know, and I think it's all the credit in the world to the Boston Film Festival for being, you know, one of the oldest festivals in the country and one of the most storied places. And it's so well working with Robin has been fantastic. And it's just a real pleasure to get to bring this back and show it to a lot of these folks that I grew up around, you know.
Where will folks be able to see the Fallow Few?
So right now we have a couple of distribution offers, but we're interested in seeing how things go with Boston. We're still doing our festival runs right now. So it will be available within the next 1 or 2 quarters, I should
Fantastic.
say.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what's next for Josh Rapaport?
I have two scripts that I just am wrapping up on right now that are in development, as they say. And then I also have a picture that I produced down in Atlanta that stars another film based on a true story, starring Zach Braff and Esther McGregor and Holt McCallany and Abigail Spencer, which was really a great joy to work on. But that one I was just a producer on, so the the next ones are going to be. I'm writing the next ones as we speak. Well, not as we speak, but yeah.
In this time period.
Yes. I'm going to go from this call back to writing. Yeah. But I'll always have time for both of you.
Well, we're so glad that you have had time for us. You know, Josh, when you look out now, what's the ultimate goal? I mean, when will you say, "Gosh, I know I made it"?
I think there was certainly a moment when our producer, Jake Seal, when he said, "Yeah, we're going to go and make it," that felt pretty significant. And I think now I have a certain type of picture that I like to make, and I just want to be able to keep on going out and making good movies based on a true story is something that I feel quite strongly about. Yeah. You know, and so that's the main goal, is to just, you know, keep the momentum going and getting to work with some great folks and hopefully make some movies that people keep responding to.
And maybe bringing it back to Massachusetts next time.
Oh, are you kidding? All day. Every day. Yeah. It's wonderful.
I think that was I think that was an offer, and I also think it might have been a threat. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's been such a joy getting to, and I've been looking forward to this Boston Film Festival so much. So
great.
Rob, and all the props in the world. Yeah. It's really exciting.
Well, listen, we're so glad that you could join us. It's been super meeting you, and continued success. I mean, this is so exciting, and I'm glad that the people of Boston are going to get a chance to see your film. I can only imagine how exciting that is for you to come home with something so terrific.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Robin, let's remind everybody they can see this movie on the 19th.
19th at the Paramount Theater. Takes place at 7 o'clock. There'll be a red carpet beforehand, and we'd love to have them be part of the audience.
Great. All right, Josh Rapaport, thank you so much. And as we promised, folks, coming up next, the star of this wonderful movie is going to join us, Bradley James. This is Kerrigan and Company. Shorter days don't have to mean less time outdoors. It just means you have to add your own lighting. Now's the perfect time to talk with my friends at Lucia Lighting and Design about incorporating lighting into your landscape. If you do it now, you'll be able to extend the season and won't have to miss out on your outdoor time in the future. The experts at Lucia Lighting will help you find the perfect outdoor lighting for you. Get started by scrolling their website at lucialighting.com and then make an appointment to visit their magnificent showroom in Lynn, Massachusetts. Don't wait. Go to lucialighting.com right now.
If you like rum, you're going to love Rumson's Rum, New England's most award-winning rum brand. Rumson creates distinctive and savory flavor profiles by hand-selecting and marrying the finest barrel-aged Caribbean rums. The spirits are then blended and finished in the New England Rum House. Choose from Rumson's Gold, Spiced, Grand Reserve, or Coffee Rum. Find Rumson's at liquor stores or ask for it at your favorite restaurant. Learn more at rumsons.com. That's rumsons.com. Rumsons. Life lived. Life enjoyed.
This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Don't miss the 4-time Tony Award-winning show, Rent, on stage September 16th through the 28th. Get tickets at nsmt.org. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company. Wow, this is such a fun edition of Kerrigan & Company. Of course, we're talking about the Boston Film Festival. It comes up the 19th through the 22nd of this month. And if you don't have your tickets, be sure that you check out the wonderful films that are coming and get yourself out to at least one of those films. With me is the executive director of the Boston Film Festival. Of course, this is Robin Dawson, and we're having a good time.
We're having a great time. I want to come back.
I know. Listen. There's another film festival. There's another day, that's for sure. It was great, of course, having Josh Rapaport. And now I am thrilled that we have the star of Josh's movie, and that is Bradley James, and the movie, of course, The Fallow Few. And it's great to see you.
You've made me slightly nervous, Kim, because I'm not sure if I have actually secured my ticket for the Boston Film Festival with that plug that you gave to it. But,
I'm going to give you the website here, and we'll see if we can get you
somewhere.
Yeah, right. We'll give you the website. We'll see if you can get a ticket. I don't know. We'll have to work on that. I was saying before we came on the air to Robin that I was actually chatting with my daughter today. She lives in New York, and I was telling her that you were coming on, and she said, "Oh," and I said, Gracie, he's like a sneaky, really famous actor. She said, well, tell me something he's been in. And I said, well, how about Merlin? And she stopped dead and she said, he wasn't King Arthur, right? And I said, yes, he was. And she's like, Mom, I've been in love with him.
I have very much a lot of appreciation for the term sneaky, really famous actor. That explains a lot of the looks I get when I walk down the street, which is kind of the "did I go to school with you" look. It's not people sort of being able to place me out of the context of whatever it is they've seen me in. It's just people maybe having some kind of vague familiarity with my face. So sneaky, very famous.
If you'd like to use this, please feel free the next time you're
I think I might stick it on a T-shirt and start walking around at the Boston Film Festival with it, possibly.
There you go, right. Well, Robin and I were both saying I think that's probably the way to be famous, because then maybe you can live a little bit of a life. I don't know how much you really get to. I think you're a little too recognizable. We were just talking, as we said, to Josh, and Josh had nothing but glowing reviews for you. And I'm really anxious to hear.
Money well spent on my part.
Well, I'm extremely anxious to hear what it was like to work with Josh, a first-time director. A first feature film director.
Well, I should probably sort of give you to start that answer off. I should tell you about the fact I first met Josh. God, this is going to sound horrendous, and I already hate the fact I'm about to say this.
That's okay.
My first introduction to Josh was through his script. I was about to say I met Josh through reading his script, but let's not go that far down the woo-woo line. And I read this script, and I was just sent it. Are you interested in this? I read it. I was like, yes, I'm doing it. And I don't quite know how it happened, because it seemed to happen before my reps were even aware of it. I was then sat down with Josh in a hotel off of Wilshire somewhere. Sorry, that's in LA for
that's okay.
LA folks. And we sat down and we talked for however many hours. And there's obviously a sort of cautiousness that you take into working with a first-time director. Mm-hmm. There is nothing to say whether this person knows what they're doing. All those ideas are in their head. There is nothing tangible for you to take into account. And I met with him. I was like, this is a personality that I would be more than happy to work with on set. And then thankfully he still managed to exceed my expectations once we got on set, because he is a terrific collaborator. Working with him, exploring ideas with him, he is there to boost you. And I think those people in any area of life, when you meet those people who lift you up, you feel very grateful for them, especially in a professional capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was a good decision on your part, because you are riveting in this performance, and I don't
Robin,
say that
bless
lightly.
you silver-tongued charmer.
Truly, you did a spectacular job. So the combination of you and Josh resulted in a great film.
Well, I again, those are very kind words, Robin. Thank you very much. I do harp on about Josh creating that environment, and I think predominantly as well. I go back to the fact that of reading that script and going, I want to do this. The through line of the character I immediately connected with. That happens every now and then with characters that you pick up scripts and read, and it certainly happened here. And I think that's probably that kind of passion that I then brought about for the project. I think was probably a lot of what did the work on both sides. Josh was obviously very invested and very passionate, because it was his heart and soul that he poured into this, and I wanted to do my best to try and match that.
So talk to us about the Fallow Few, and what I know you say the character you felt like you were drawn to him. What is it about this movie that I should see? Why should I see it?
Wow. I really wish I had Josh here to do the pitch. Why should you see it? I guess I can only talk about the thing that drew me in. I don't know whether that then turns an audience into going, oh, well, if Bradley liked it, I better go see it. But I read this script and I found a person who had been put into a moral conundrum that I had to ask myself, what would my actions be? Because it's very easy for us in society to observe things from afar and go, well, I would have made this decision because it's the right decision. And really that can be quite performative. It can be quite performative when you are saying that you will do something. And until you're actually put in a moment, especially with social media and the way that decisions can be exposed to the general public these days, when you're actually put in a moment, in a scenario, we do behave perhaps differently a lot of the times to how we might like to be, how we would like it to be seen as though we would behave in a situation. And I read this script and I sort of felt like, well, I know what the right thing to do is, I know what the safe thing to do is, and I honestly don't know which way this is going to turn. And then there was a whole element of the First World War being so ingrained, well, First World War, the Second World War being so ingrained in the national psyche of England or Great Britain, that it immediately is something that sort of like grabs your attention in that regard. So to then find myself playing a character who wasn't necessarily a straightforward hero on the face of it, you then get to then play with all this stuff that Josh has written in, and it's not just kind of a black and white scenario of this person is good, this person is bad. Even in the case of the soldier who is the sort of predominant focus of the movie, you're not left with a straightforward answer. You're not given a straightforward answer. It's as to how you feel about this. The audience is asked to make up their mind for themselves, and I dare say that once they see it and observe it, there'll be a variety of responses to, how they feel and think about the situation.
Is that how you felt when you saw it?
Yes, I think he captured it perfectly. It's the other part of it for me is that it's based on a story that we don't know about, and I love learning about the history, and I think it's important for us to learn the history of what happened so that we can frame the future.
Sure, absolutely. Bradley, let me ask you how this role compares to some of the others that you have on your resume. Obviously, as I mentioned, did you guys do 3 seasons of Merlin?
We did 5.
5. I apologize. 5 seasons.
That's quite all right.
Yeah. Underworld, Blood Wars. I'm looking at this. Damien, The Liberator. You've done a number of things. How does this role compare? Or can you do that? Is it like children and you can't pick one?
I think it compares in the sense that, there's a question you get asked as an actor when you find whatever occupation you do, you find yourself in a social situation where people say, hey, what do you do? Right. And then they kind of, certainly in acting terms, they look for you to kind of validate yourself in some way. And they'll be like, well, what would I have seen you in if you're an actor? And you have to then, you can either play the game of listing off a whole, thing in the hope that somebody's seen something you've done, or you can do what I do, which is to give people homework. And what I had said up until recently was, well, I'm not going to tell you everything I've been in, but I'm going to tell you the thing I'm most proud of. And I would say to them, do you have Netflix? They would usually say yes. And I would say, right, I want you to go and find The Liberator. Yeah. Watch that and then come back to me. And it was one of those projects that was weird, and it wasn't the most didn't have the most notoriety about it. This project, to actually bring it into an answer to your question as opposed to just rambling for 10 minutes, once the Fallow Few becomes more readily available, my homework that I will be giving people is to go and find the Fallow Few because I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm very drawn to characters who, and I think we all are, drawn to those characters where you're not necessarily able to place them in the good or bad box, the right or wrong box, the whatever it is. It's somebody who is going through an experience that we as human beings go for, that is an experience that is truer, I suppose, to the range of emotions and the range of decisions that we make as human beings. We are not always good. We are not always bad. We can try to make the right decision as often as possible, but we will always fall foul to moments in our life where that just does not happen.
Have you ever been to Boston?
No, I'm excited for my first time.
What?
My mum has been. She came back. This is when I was ever so small. She went to Boston, and I actually, as you can tell by my accent, I actually grew up in Florida. That's a true story. And she went up to Boston without me, but she came back with an absolute stash of chocolates, candy, as you might say. And I assumed, therefore, that Boston was the greatest place in the world when I was a young child, given that she'd come back with this loot.
Oh, that's great. How long will you be here when you come to visit?
I think we're there for 3 or 4 days.
Great. Super.
That's a good question, and I should know the answer. I don't, but that is definitely something I should inform myself of. It's a few days next week, I believe.
Good. Well, the weather will be beautiful, and we hope that you get out and get to see our fair city. I understand that you call it football. That's not what we know as football. We know it as soccer, but I understand that you are a big fan.
I'm a big fan of both forms of football.
I love it.
I'm a long-suffering Miami Dolphin. You wouldn't necessarily have had the suffering experience as New England Patriots. You have tasted success often and don't have to put up with the levels of mediocrity that Miami produce every year. But yes, the English form. I'm also very, very much passionate about my football.
Absolutely. That's so great. That's great. And what is on the docket?
Delightfully worded question. Your audio audience won't be able to visually see the slightly shocking hairdo that I have at the moment. I dare say they will do at some point. So when this project that I look like this for comes to fruition, I will be making everybody aware.
So I want you to know that I ask you that question because I just read something, and I don't know, you've been interviewed just recently, and you said close to the same thing. You didn't say about your hair, but you said it's going to be great and you're going to know what it is when it comes out, and you're just making me crazy. I just feel like I got to know what this is.
Robin, I'm so sorry to tease you in such a way. I mean, I'm sorry, not sorry at the same time. I'm
very excited for you because there is something out there that must be really cool.
Do you know what? The industry's in a interesting place at the moment. There is people finding creative ways to work around the ever-changing landscape of this industry, and as a result you find yourself involved in projects that you can kind of get very excited about because people have really had to think about outside the box to make things happen. And I think my summer has been this kind of juggling act as to one thing happening and then the next thing happening and then something else not happening. So fingers crossed when those things do actually happen, you make people, fingers crossed, I make my mother proud when she finally sees the end result of whatever I do find myself in front of a camera doing. Kristallnacht, I think, will be the next thing you might see, which we shot earlier in the year. It is Clive Owen and what's Stefan's last name? He's won an Oscar, and I can't even give you his last name because it's very hard to pronounce. Stefan is our director.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely should know how to pronounce his last name, but Kristallnacht is the next one to look out for.
Fantastic. And will we see that on a streaming service somewhere?
Great question. I imagine they're in the edit at the moment, and I reckon they'll try and get it into some. I reckon they'll get it into some theaters first before it hits streamers. It's that kind of film. Yeah. It's The Night of Broken Glass, Germany, 1938.
Wow. Wow.
Very, very poignant story. So with any luck, that might catch a wave and find itself in a cinema somewhere.
Well, everybody's very excited. Bradley James, he's going to be here in Boston next week. It's the Fallow Few for the Boston Film Festival. It has been a delight to meet you. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And I hope that your time in Boston is everything that your mother made it out to be, and that you find sweets on every corner.
I expect people to be just strolling around the streets, munching on all this glorious chocolate that's clearly pouring from every orifice of the city. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks so very much for being a part of Kerrigan & Company.
Thank you for having me, guys. Very much appreciate it.
Continued success, and we'll look for that next project coming our way. All right. Bradley James, and everybody, we're going to wrap things up in just a moment. This is Kerrigan & Company. This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Don't miss the 4-time Tony Award-winning show, Rent, on stage September 16th through the 28th. Get tickets at nsmt.org. After all of the sunscreen, sunshine, salt, and chlorine, your skin, if it's like mine, could use a good cleansing. That's why I'm headed to see my friends at Sienna Aesthetic Spa in Beverly, and I think you should too. They offer a hydrofacial that's non-invasive and delivers instant results for all skin types with no downtime. It combines cleansing, hydration, and nourishment for a radiant complexion. If you're looking for immediate glow without any irritation, set up an appointment today. Go to siennaesthetics.com. That's siennaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Well, that's going to do it for this very fun theatrical version of Kerrigan & Company. This has been so fun. Robin, I am so excited for you guys and this festival. I mean, you have those two gentlemen, and this is going to be a hit for sure.
Definitely. And I just urge people to go to our website at bostonfilmfestival.org. Take in this great experience. There's a topic for everybody, from sports documentary to outdoor documentaries, and a variety of features in our virtual program, animation and shorts.
Yeah, it's just really great. Be sure you go to the website, though, folks, because you do need a ticket, and you'll just want to take a peek and see where the locations, the venues are different. Keep that in mind. Now, that's one thing people need to understand. There's not one single venue. It's all over the area.
Right. They're Boston Public Library, Paramount Theater, and even at the Shaylin Liu outside of Boston.
Right.
So a lot of different locations, but easy to find on the website.
Absolutely. Right. And you need to buy a ticket for, the different movies that are being shown. And can people stay for parties, or how does that all work?
They can send a request that they'd like to be part of the party, and we can include that in the ticket.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
What an exciting week you have coming up.
Yes, I'm really excited. You work so hard on this, putting it together, and then to see it come to fruition and see the audiences enjoy these films is very satisfying.
Robin and I were talking off the air, and I was saying to Robin, I can only imagine on the 23rd of September she collapses for at least a day or two, and then no doubt you start on Festival 42.
We have to. We have to start looking at films and creating what's going to be next year. So, but it is, as I said, very rewarding, and thrilled to be able to bring these stories to life.
Well, congratulations on an incredible event that people from around the world look forward to. You've been at the helm since 2005, and that's a lot of years and a lot of success. So I'm very happy for you.
Thank you, Kim.
You bet. And thanks for coming to be a part of the show.
Wonderful to be here.
Yeah, and thanks for hooking us up with those two great guys. Wow, they were really a lot of fun. Thanks to all of you for being a part of the show today, too. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure that you subscribe. And we'd appreciate it if you'd follow us on all of our social. And don't forget, we have a new website. You go to kerriganandcompanypod.com, and that's where we can all stay in touch. Until next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Kerrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Travis Cohen. And our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.